To be honest, I don't know how to charge this without shooting it.
And I fell. Bounties. But he's dead for right now, so he's gonna leave us alone now.
Alright, well, if I kill you, it's not my fault.
I don't believe that for a minute.
Oh, my armistice zone privileges are revoked.
No, it looked like I got hit by my own ship when I was getting out of the seat.
Another NPC. Yep, he's dead. Oh, no, he ran away. Welcome to the second episode of State of the Verse. I'm Dark Hour 717, and this is our weekly program to bring you the latest and greatest information released by CIG over the course of the last week. Of course, a lot has happened over this last week. We're joined this evening, as usual, by Jay Skell. What's going on, buddy?
Not much. How are you doing?
Not too bad. So the week actually had a lot for us in Star Citizen. A lot of different things occurred. We're also joined this evening by a number of different people from Amarok Fangs. And we've got Mystery, who is rocking the lamb chops there, waving along. And he is one of the newest members of Amarok Fangs, joins us on several of our streams, as well as most activities off stream as well too, and is definitely a big part in our mining operations as well as other operations. And actually, you run a YouTube channel yourself on a different topic. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I run a YouTube channel that does deep dives into the financial aspects of MLMs and pyramid schemes, determining if it is a pyramid scheme and finding out just how much money they claim you can make versus what you'll actually make or how much you'll lose. It's a lot of fun if you're into that sort of thing.
Well, I got some Mary Kay and some Amway I can sell you if you're interested. Bring a
Yeah,
few friends along with you and you'll make more money.
That's true. We could also add a few other ones in there like Monet or Asante.
Oh, absolutely. And where can they find that channel at?
So I'm over on YouTube. You just YouTube search Mystery. It's just like, well, I guess it's not here. It would be MISTR_E_.
All right. Well, I'll make sure to throw a link to that in the comments for everybody if they want to check that out. And just shoot me over a link so that I can throw that in there for you. And everybody can come and give you some support. Because actually, I find a lot of that information very interesting myself on the scams. I watch a lot of the YouTube programs on scams that are going on out there as well, too. And working in IT, definitely try to stay on top of the digital scams as well. We're also joined by JunkyardWilly, who is one of our original Amarok Fangs member, who actually has a different persona, which has a Twitch channel under the name Digikuma, Digikuma. You want to tell us a little bit about that there, Junkyard?
Hey guys, hey Dark, thanks for having me. Mystery, that I'm gonna definitely check out your channel because I'm sick of living paycheck to paycheck these days.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Twitch TV/Digikuma. It's DIGIIKUMA naming thingies. Yeah, I'm just really getting into starting into streaming, so I've been playing a bunch of kind of just quick, comfy games. One of our org members, Moreland, plays Final Fantasy 14, and that's one game I've been getting back into while I'm messing around with Star Citizen in between.
Awesome. We'll make sure we put a link to that channel in our comments as well too. So make sure to shoot me. Well, actually, I already got a link to your channel, so we'll throw that in there, and everybody head on over there. Give Digikuma/JunkyardWilly some support there. Great guy. And I'm sure he's got some great content as well. We also have joining us this week, well, known by multiple names. We know him as Summer Yeti, but he's also known as War PhD as well as Play Game D. Any other names you're known by out there?
Many.
Now, you have affiliation with Space Tomato and Board Gamer and their orgs as well, too. Anything coming up on that side or personal that you want to plug?
Well, right now with as far as Star Citizen goes, it's mostly just I like to be involved in the community. Like we were talking about in a previous conversation. I like to be out there. I like to see what's going on in Star Citizen, the people wise. I think the strength of this game really has come through from the community aspect. I mean, it's a crowdfunded game after all, coming from a great vision from a pretty good company that seems to, while we've had their hiccups, the community has sort of like helped guide the right path. So I think being involved in various things like that, it's great. And it's nice to see the YouTubers like yourself, like Space Tomato, like Board Gamer. I like to see those guys and how they interact and influence the development of the game.
Yeah.
That's really, yeah.
Yeah, Tomato and Board Gamer definitely have much more influence than I do, but
Well, everybody
definitely
starts small. They started where you're at. Like Board Gamer's just been there for a long time, and Space Tomato, like he started a long time, a couple years ago. So everybody gets their start, and it's like that dedication. We all love Star Citizen. That's why we keep coming back.
Oh yeah, it's an amazing community that is always there to support each other and everything. It's actually one of the best communities I've seen for gaming as far as anything that I've done online between console gaming and PC gaming for sure.
Yeah, I got to give you props, Stark. I mean, I started out watching a couple of your YouTube videos, and it's grown into quite a thing. And I attribute to that to you're a working guy who works his job and does this for fun and has the community for fun. It doesn't seem like there's any ulterior motives, so I'm glad to be a part of Amarok. Uh, in your sights.
I appreciate it, Junk. Thank you very much. And yeah, this game is amazing. I've never played any game like this, and it is all for fun. Whether things cap out here or max out at what we're at now or anything. The important thing is that we're all getting in the game, having a good time, supporting each other, and just enjoying the experience of being in the verse and being able to unwind after that hard day's work. So
Well, that and we're contributing to we're contributing to the development of the game. I mean, even if you don't put in issue council reports or whatever, just being in there and experiencing the crashes and giving your feedback, even if it's just the data your computer sends to their servers, that's part of it, man. We're making a difference in the realization of this beautiful project that not just for Chris Robert, everybody. Look at what we're experiencing when we play this game. And I'm not trying to boast it up that high, but I mean it's great. I love it.
well, absolutely. The big part for me is, you see things going on like right now with the free fly and all that is the ability to help new players as well. And that's one of the best parts of this community and game that I enjoy is being able to help those people who are new that don't know quite what they're doing, what they should be doing, or where they need to go for different things. And, whether it's me or it's one of you guys reaching out to them, whether they're in the org or not, and helping them along, it's great to see that interaction.
Yeah, it's nice where people can actually ask a question and chat inside the game and the in-game chat and actually get a good, okay, this is what you're looking at, this is what you're trying to do, and
Yeah.
get help.
Absolutely. So, over the course of the last week, we've seen a lot of different things actually come about. And of course, with the release of 3.14.1, which happened on Wednesday, that started our free fly experience. Now, the free fly is going to be going through the 27th of August, and that brought a lot of different things currently right now that are available for people who want to try Star Citizen or get into it. Definitely a lot of capability to have a new experience, try a new game. I have a feeling just like, all of us had done when we tried it are going to definitely fall in love with it. The 3.14.1 patch, of course, not perfect. We had some bugs in 3.14. They did a lot to fix it. They did fix a lot, but there are still some things that are breaking. And that's going to bring us to the bugs that we are seeing. We're obviously still seeing the infinite load screen on certain situations. We're definitely still seeing the 16,008 error. One thing with that, Lady Wolf actually found that if instead of doing the character reset like CIG recommends, if you delete your user folder, exit launcher, and relaunch in, that can actually take care of it. So it can give you an extra step to try before you go to the extreme measure of doing a character reset and having to go through that kind of a pain in the backside process. So definitely give that a try. Also, we had talked earlier about the crime stat I got quantuming into by Genie, where I thought it was just an erroneous no reason. Actually, Yeti, you look back in the footage and found that I had actually interacted with a red target that didn't fire on me, but I fired on him, and that's what gave me the crime stat. So definitely a bug there, because you should be able to fire on a red target. It's going to
Yeah,
definitely play a factor in the call to arms.
So if you're noticing that you're getting crime stats randomly, like Dark Hour did the other night, just try to pay attention. If you see a red target out there, if they're not shooting at you, just don't shoot back. Wait till they shoot you before you shoot them. If it's an NPC players, different story. But just be careful. Make sure you're getting shot at before you return fire.
Yep. So, and of course, what I'm finding now as we get further and further along with new patches, they always recommend deleting that user folder. And I'm finding now, because before I was a huge habitual non-deleter, and I just go with it unless I had an issue, and then I would go in and delete it. But I'm finding out more and more that deleting it does lead to a better experience. So put some consideration into that. I know it's kind of a pain, and reset your bindings. Make sure you copy over your control folder if you have a hostess set up. But definitely finding out that is, yeah, make sure you save those keybinds for sure. Because trust me, you don't want to have to go through and redo those if you're running like a dual stick setup or something like that.
That can be one of the hardest parts of the experience, is keeping your stuff configured. I can only imagine.
Oh yeah, and unless you're using just a base file like Subliminal's VKB files or something like that, and using his exact setup, it's having to go through and remap everything can be a pain. So overall, though, with 3.14.1, what has your guys' experience been as far as what you've seen so far? I know, Mystery, earlier you were mentioning some mining stuff.
Yeah, the ghost rocks. That's one of my big things. It seems like with the new changes that they did and the scanning, I'm getting a lot more options to scan, but the majority of them, well, not the majority of them, but a good number of them are you just can't scan them, or they don't work with the laser. I know you were talking about putting laser on, slightly moving it a little bit, and having to start all over essentially with the mining of that rock.
Mm-hmm. Yep, the OptiCharge window disappears.
Yeah, I have not had any issues with modules randomly disappearing from my laser. That hasn't happened to me. I know that has happened to other people.
Yep. And I've kind of seen the same thing. Per L3, which used to be a hotbed, it still does well, but I'm finding the ratio of unscannable rocks larger nowadays than what it was before. Or like you mentioned, rocks that you find are scannable, but the laser won't have any effect on it.
Yeah, I do most of my mining primarily in the Halo between HERL2 and ArcCorp, and a good number of the rocks that I come across are not scannable.
Yeah.
You're digging out the Quantanium out there?
Yep.
So when you're and just real quick, are you having any issues with hauling the Quantanium to the refinery? Are you having any issues getting it refined? Are you having any issues like hauling it to because I haven't done it in this patch at all.
No, so far I haven't had any issues. Now I did have one where it didn't register, and this was right when it first dropped. It didn't register that I had the Quantanium, and then suddenly it was unstable, and I lost everything. Which I think that's not a new bug. I think that's been around for a little bit, but majority, yeah, no issues. I've been able to take it to the refinery, get it refined, and ship it off to ArcCorp without any issues.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I've seen the same thing. And like you mentioned, it's been around for a while. And it only happens to me once in every blue moon. And once it happens, it doesn't happen to me for a long time. But I'll start extracting the Quantanium, and all of a sudden it's just immediately goes unstable with less than 30 seconds on the ship. And, well, of course, I blow up and I die.
Yep.
So that's been going on since I want to say about 3.12. So,
okay.
But other than that, I've had
RNG to me.
What's that?
Sounds like some RNG.
Yep.
Other than that, I've had no issue. Just like you, I go to Area 18 or New Babbage. I avoid Loreville because I get more backups and delays in selling out at Loreville.
Your attachments, they're working just fine. You said they're not falling off. I've had them fall off in previous patches in like the ship management console. Like I've put them on there and then like maybe left the game, come back, and they were gone when they came back again.
Yeah, I haven't seen that this patch.
Okay.
The only thing I had an issue with was right when the patch first dropped, my modules wouldn't work. but when I logged in the next day, it was fine. So I think it might have just been either user error, which is completely possible, or I don't know, they hot fixed it or quick fixed it or stealth fixed it, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. And of course, with the free fly coming out this week, we also have and this is just rumor, nothing I've seen directly from CIG yet, but we're going to be looking at a possible Xenothreat event on August 25th, which I think will be great for the free fly people to see and get a little more in-depth experience with the special dynamic events. I know Ninetales ran yesterday, which was available for all the free fly people to participate in. So I think there was some speculation that they're going to hold off on that until after the 27th, but I think it's great that they've included it for those people getting in for free and give them a little bit more in-depth view into the game and the things that are capable in it. But also looking at that, Xenothreat ran obviously from the time 3.14 launched to the free fly. They were running almost daily Xenothreat testing, and a lot of information came out on that as far as the aggressiveness of the NPCs as well as the difficulty level. And I think the conclusions from what I've heard from most people, and you guys let me know what you found, that the NPCs have definitely gone up in aggressiveness and the difficulty has gone up as well too.
No, I haven't played against much of that, but I can definitely say I've heard other people say yes, absolutely, it's getting better. Like it can kind of get a little bogged down. You see a little bit of the teleporting of the enemies and stuff. I've seen some of that, but that's server tick rate. They're just that's network code is going to really be what they need to work on to fix that, I think.
I didn't get a chance to participate in the NPC on steroids, more aggressive AI ones, but I did read through the Spectrum feedback thread that Sig set up, and there was a lot of comments around how you can no longer solo the Xenothreat fighters out there. You've got to have a wingman or two with you, because the AI does gang up on you. So
Wow, really?
Yeah. There was a
Yeah.
lot of stuff in there about how they definitely cranked it up.
Yeah.
It's
I
exciting.
haven't
to
played
me.
it myself, but that just sounds great.
Oh,
Fantastic.
I think it sounds amazing.
Soloing content like that is boring.
Are you still
You gotta
watching
have
for
people
enemy
out
players too when you're out there doing that?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wow,
Yeah, you still
really?
got to keep an eye out for them. And I think, like Junk said, that's great that they brought it up to that level. I think it's great for the long-term players that have done this in the first version of Xenothreat, because anybody that went through that first iteration of it, after the first time you ran it, it just became like second nature, easy to do. You knew exactly that they weren't going to be very aggressive. So I think this definitely adds a different level and better immersion for the new players. It's going to give them a better opportunity to learn their systems, especially with all the changes to the combat system, learn those like the back of their hand to be able to, traverse the verse everywhere else. So with the Xenothreat, keep an eye out for that. Hopefully we'll see that on August 25th. Again, the free fly is going to be running through the 27th of August. Anybody that's interested that's not currently in the game, or if you're currently in the game and you don't have the ships that they're offering, you can actually go to the RSI website and use the code Get Into the Verse, enter that in, and you'll immediately have access to the ships that they're offering for the free fly. It'll also give any non-current player access to the discounted starter packs. Of course, current players can also buy starter packs. But the Mustang and Aurora MR are going to be for $40.50. That's just a little less than a $5 discount. The 100i package is going to be $58.50, which is going to be just shy of $7 off of that package. And of course, the Aero starter pack is going to be $81 US, and that's $9 off the standard price of that starter pack. And of course, any of these starter packs, you can always upgrade them to another ship, another level if you want, and you'll still be able to retain that discount because you'll get full credit for that pack when you go to do the upgrade. I was a little surprised that the Titan wasn't in there because it is one of the best starter packs that there are. It's $70 US right now. But if you want that, I would definitely say grab yourself that 100i. Get the full credit for the pack, which would be, $64, $65, and you can upgrade right to the Titan for an additional $5. That'd be definitely still retaining your savings, but definitely one of the better starter ships. And along with those discounted starter packs, we have the referral bonus, which is going to be the Drake Dragonfly with the Coalfire paint. Now, the referral bonus basically means that when you sign up for the game, you're using a referral code like what you see in the bottom right corner of the screen here. And what that's going to do for you is not only the usual referral code bonus, which is 5,000 AUEC extra when you get into the game, so a little extra AUEC to buy stuff, but you're also going to get a Drake Dragonfly and the Coalfire paint for it that's yours to keep. It's going to have LTI. It can't be melted, can't be gifted. It's yours to keep forever as long as you continue to play the game, but you can upgrade it for another ship, getting the $40 credit that it's worth. And that the lifetime insurance will actually follow to any ship that you upgrade it to. Now, the benefit is if you use your friend or your family member's referral code, is they're going to get the same thing. So they will get that Drake Dragonfly with that paint as well, and you'll both be able to get that free ship from SIG, which is a great deal. Whenever they want to give something away for free like that, I absolutely recommend you take advantage of it. I know I've already gotten mine. I actually upgraded my Yellow Jacket to a Connie Taurus because I got that referral bonus. So definitely keep an eye open for that.
I still say, I'm saying, I still say it should have been the Star Kitten paint.
I love the Star Kitten paint.
Me too. I mean, that's beautiful. Even if it's a different color, who cares? Just
If I remember, though, didn't they show off the Star Kitten paint in IAE 2949?
Oh no, I think that was way before. I mean, I would have grabbed it. I haven't been involved long enough to see when they had it where you could get the Star Kitten paint on your Dragonfly. But I know that it was a referral event just like this one. But yeah, we need more Star Kitten, in my opinion.
Can we get a Star Kitten Kraken?
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be a lot of pink, man.
That'd be a lot of pink. Yep. Definitely keep an eye out for that, as well as, get your referral codes out there, get your friends if they're interested in it, get your free Drake Dragonfly with that. Also, we have the Ship Showdown coming up, which is a yearly event. They take all the new ships that are in and all the ships within Star Citizen, and basically people vote for the top 16, and then on the road to IAE, it battles down to the top 4, in which they give special paint schemes or editions of the ships. Who are the winning top 4. Everybody that owns those top 4 will get those free of charge. So keep an eye out for more information coming out on that. Get your votes in for what your favorite ships are. Definitely, we were talking earlier, and I definitely agree. And Yeti, correct me if I'm wrong. Redeemer, Inferno.
Good bet, in my opinion.
Hercules variant will be in there.
You're gonna have the Hammerhead,
the Redeemer, and Hercules for sure.
Really,
Everyone wants to see that. The hype around the Redeemer has been so long for the community design ship.
So my question: have you guys
some new paint on it for sure?
Oh yeah,
right up to that.
Have you guys sat in a turret of a Hammerhead recently?
Well, once you're in, you're not getting out.
Well, I mean, no. You can. The pilot can open the exterior doors, and that's another workaround. So you can get out, but if you haven't done combat in a turret right now, and your computer can handle it, you got to have a pretty decent frames. But if you can get in those turrets and actually experience, oh my god, the gameplay is fantastic with the way the ammo works now and the damage. Oh my god.
Yeah,
they've amped up turrets.
Yeah. The Hammerhead's going to be, in my opinion, it's going to make another year.
Oh, Hammerhead's always a favorite. So, but I would definitely say we're going to see some of the newest ships in there with the Redeemer, the Inferno, and the Hercules series, and in some way, shape, or form are got to be shoe-ins for that. If you don't start voting until after 315, but with 315 launching more around the time of IAE, we may not see that Redeemer, the Inferno, or the A2, which will open it up for other ships to jump in there if they are not released in time for the voting.
We also got to wonder what these mystery ships are coming in the Citizen Con.
It's the Invisible 400i.
I bet you that ship never manifests. I bet you it turns out into error page again. I bet you it was, I don't know.
I have the Spectrum badge for that one too.
So like if they did the 400i, then they'd also have to do like a flat planet someplace, because that's what their April Fool's joke was that one year.
Yep. Yeah, actually just this past year is when that was. And Of course, they've also announced Talk Like a Pirate Day, which surprisingly to me, this is a real international day. This is September 19th. CIG has announced that they're going to be offering special themed items in celebration. I can't imagine it's going to be the Pirate Gladius or the Pirate Caterpillar. There's probably going to be other things, maybe, some type of special skin weapon, something like that. For this, I would imagine it'd be for the day or possibly a weekend. But yeah, pirate themed special offerings, as they put it.
We might see, like, okay, so I bought, when I first 3 years ago came into this game, I bought a saber, and it was around this time of year, and they had like Pirate Day, and I guess I bought a saber, and it was like a pirate saber or whatever. It didn't have any special insurance or nothing. It was just like pirate saber, and you could have got a pirate buccaneer. So there might be, like, maybe this year they'll do like a pirate F7. Be my guess.
Be interesting.
More
Pirate
fun to be
600
a pirate than to join the Navy.
Maybe a pirate skin Scorpion, that new ship from RSI.
A Pirate 890 jump.
Pirate Kraken.
Wait, that's a Kraken.
Right.
All right, so along with Talk Like a Pirate Day, we're also getting closer to IAE. This is, of course, the yearly biggest event of CIG and Star Citizen. And don't have an exact date yet, but this is where you're going to have the lengthy celebration where ships are available. Everything that's in game is rentable. Everything is flyable that's currently in the game. We're going to see some new ships come in. I would expect that this is where we'll see probably the Redeemer, the A2, and the Inferno launch with the 2 variations of that. And I'm excited about that. I love IAE every year.
The Intergalactic Aerospace Expo.
Yes.
It's a fantastic experience. I love it. You know what's really nice too is if you like to parkour, sometimes they have the flags in the main arboretum there. They'll have them hanging down. You can climb up and get really good shots of some of the ships. You can even parkour up on some of the ships and stuff sometimes to get really good visuals, video shots.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is, of course, last year we had it on New Babbage, and this year we got Orison introduced, so that means that we're going to have the IAE on Orison, so it'll be interesting because we're getting the second version of Orison in 3.15. It'll be interesting to see what they do as far as an expo center or something like that there. So with IAE, of course, we're going to see CitizenCon first, and that's going to be October 9th. That date has been released. It's going to be a digital CitizenCon. So keep an eye out for that, as well as their yearly cosplay contest from SIG. They usually have some really great prizes for that. Further information will be on the RSI site, how to get involved with that and send your photos in for that. So keep an eye out for that information.
Are they still doing that video contest?
Which video contest?
Well, they were doing a video contest like during this year's CitizenCon. They're going to be playing community-made videos. You've got to submit them by a certain time in a certain format, like 45 seconds or whatever. That's definitely on their website.
Oh,
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's over with. Or...
Cosplay me a Fieldsbury bear helmet.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's where I drew my inspiration from. I love that helmet so much.
I made sure I kept my helmet of that one. So video contest as well as the cosplay contest. Keep an eye out for that and get your submissions in. All the information is going to be on the RSI site. So that brings us to our news and information, and there was no roadmap roundup for this week because last week we had a very large roadmap roundup with a lot of information. This week we also launched the free fly event on the day of the roadmap roundup, so I can understand that there really wasn't much to announce. So no new information there to go over, but there was definitely a lot of information elsewhere. And J-Scale, I'll hand it off to you to kind of touch base on the stuff that you found there.
Alrighty, take 2. Inside Star Citizen physician admission. Basically, the first portion of the video, they rolled over all the hospitals, the clinics. The fascinating one was Grim Hex. They're going to have in 3.15, they'll be releasing Orison, New Babbage. They're going to be multi-tiered hospitals with the upper floors being the beds. They're both have a layout where you've got the pharmacy, the insurance broker, the lobby where you go and reserve your bed. Insurance is where you're going to set your spawn point, and then obviously the pharmacy is where you're going to be buying all your drugs. The medical clinics that are on the stations are near the elevators, so that when you and they're also more compact versions of the hospitals at Orison and New Babbage.
we're still working on the hospitals. Jason and I are on the space clinics. So yeah, that's going along pretty well. Pretty quick too.
Yeah, it's a pretty far stage right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're approaching final.
Yeah. So I guess it was a small mandate compared to New Babbage.
They're going to be, like I said, close to the elevator. So when you respawn there, for convenience sake, you'll be able to kind of get out of your hospital bed, change out of your gown, and then head straight to the ASOPs and fly out of there. For Grim Hex, it was really, I made this comment earlier when we were talking, just the feel of it is, you're better off dying. Start over with a new clone.
It's like going to Mexico and getting plastic surgery. You just don't really wanna, but you just love it.
I think it's worse, right? If you don't have your tetanus and God knows what else, you're going to come out with something else. You may have fixed your broken leg, but you're going to have something else when you come out of there.
Yeah, I've been to Tijuana. I don't want to ever go to a medical clinic down there.
You might come out with a rash.
Might come
It's
out
definitely-
with more than that.
It's definitely interesting, and it's definitely keeping with the feel of Grim Hex. They have an emergency, basically like a drive-up emergency room type thing, where you can land your spaceship on a pad out in space and kind of walk right in through an airlock and get seen by somebody. So that's I think a plus maybe if you're out that way. But they pointed out in the video that your ship is not in a hangar; it's sitting out there on a pad where anybody can fly up and do whatever they want with it.
Yeah, it
Put their
almost
PD,
reminds
blow it
me
up.
of Pulp Fiction there, and just dump the body outside the car and fly off and run away.
That's where you're gonna drop your drugs off, I think.
Drag and drop.
They also pointed out the I call it the freight elevator for wounded and dead.
In 315, we are delivering hospitals for the players of Star Citizen. For me, the healing loop is something that's gonna have a big impact on the way we play, especially in co-op. We ended up creating these drop-off points where you can carry your injured friend. It sort of looks like an elevator with a gurney in the middle, so if you have a big crew and everybody has had a bad day, then you can keep feeding them to the machine.
You fly up and you can land in a specific place at a hospital, and you can unload people onto a waiting elevator with a gurney, so you can empty out your ship of wounded and just pile them into this meat elevator, and it'll take them down to the hospital to be
He
treated.
said meat elevator.
Elevator.
Penguin elevator.
The big thing though
Dumb
for
waiter.
me in all of this stuff for 315 and the medical gameplay is when they bring these hospitals in, they're talking about now you're gonna, if you die, you'll respawn in a clinic or a hospital, wherever you set your spawn point for death. But if you log out, you're gonna you'll theoretically come back in where you set your spawn point. So if you're on New Babbage or you're on Michael 1 or whatever, you'll come back there if you log out and come back in, or if you 30K, I assume. But if you die now, you're going to come back in one of the hospitals or clinics.
My question
What is
on
this?
that is, when you wake up and get out of the bed, do you have one of those big ugly gowns that's open in the back
I'm
before
hoping
you
so.
put your armor on? Or
Well, so they talked about a little bit of that with the cargo refactor with prison, right? When you go to prison, once they get the personal inventory and the global asset manager in place, when you go to prison now, when that's in the game, that stuff your stuff will basically be put in storage somewhere. They haven't
Wait, hold on. When would we ever go to prison?
Oh yeah, it doesn't apply to anybody in Amarok's
What are
Fangs.
you even talking about? Yeah,
we
prisons.
never go, right?
We don't go there.
But yeah, so I assume it's going to be something similar, right? Your stuff will be put in storage in the beginning, but they did say, if you die out in the verse and you're exploring Pyro or whatever, you'll leave a body behind that can be looted, so you can go back and loot your own body.
Or somebody else can.
Yeah, if they find it.
my only
but-
concern is that if I wake up in the bed with a hospital gown, I'm going to be running around it with my butt flapping in the wind until I go find my stuff.
So just turn it around the other way.
You just go to the Lost and Found in the lobby and get some loaner clothes.
There you go.
Start walking around the public area. Just make sure, like I said, make sure it's turned down around.
Probably
Turned
some
around.
bedazzled star hidden jeans in there.
Yeah, I see
Oh,
Danger Leprechaun finding a new way to bug people.
Yep. Him and his He-Man haircut in a gown.
There you go.
They better not ever take that He-Man haircut away from that guy.
Purposely
Just
respawning.
lurking in the hospital gown.
That and the ice cream cones. We need to keep them ice cream cones around.
Yeah. The big thing though is what does this do to ship the medical beds and ships, right? Do we no longer have the ability to use a Cuddy Red as a respawn point? The Carrack and the 890 jump.
Yeah, which we heard in the possibility that the Cuddy Red will be taken away.
I mean, considering the state of the bugs in the universe, I think honestly them taking us, like handicapping us like that, especially after we're used to it the way we are, I don't believe they'll do that. At least until they give us something like maybe the Apollo.
Well,
That's an opinion.
Agreed. And the vision for those beds, and they've made these statements in the past, like a medical bed or a medical facility on a ship. They call it a very powerful thing, using the air quotes. So they are, or they were at least in the past, trying to limit the ability and the functionality of those beds for whatever reason. I guess just because it gives you too much freedom. The risk of dying isn't.
I've always seen the red as like an ambulance. You're not going to get fully healed up. It's to keep someone alive until you get them to the nearest hospital.
Yeah,
stabilize and move.
Yeah, but the challenge though, right? Because this begins the death of a spaceman gameplay, journey. I guess it won't be. Well, we talked about this. We were talking about it earlier, right? Where the penalty won't be as severe, or shouldn't be as severe right now, as they're just getting gameplay, the medical gameplay started. But we still have 30Ks, we still have ship ramps, we still have my Cuddy Red in last patch when we were all doing the cave bounties. My Cuddy Red exploded. Like I walked off of it, it exploded. I just happened to be far enough away so that I didn't go with it. But we still have things like that happen in the game, so it'll be kind of sucky if we can't use a mobile respawn point for when we're doing org things,
right.
Like
and
the Starfarer stuff. And
also the negative impact if they implement death of a spaceman. This is still all happening. Those are things that are well outside your control, like when you phase into the rocks and caves, or you fall down a crevice and you can't get out. Your only option is the suicide. And like you said, the other day I was playing, I walked through the door of a bunker and I just keeled over dead for no reason. And to negatively impact you over things that you have absolutely no control over is definitely going to be a big part of that death of a spaceman.
Yeah. They did hit on the video several times. They said that they were looking at trying to make this stuff as the hospital locations, especially on the space stations, as convenient as possible. That's why they're closer to the elevators, so you can get back up and back out there and get into trouble again. Area 18 is supposed to be coming in 316, and Lorville is supposed to be coming in 317. So,
yeah,
more hospitals coming.
It's nice to see the medical gameplay finally make it through. It really is.
I totally agree.
Oh yeah,
I'm looking forward to it because I feel like it's another gameplay loop that isn't mining and it isn't bounty hunting.
And just everybody out there, you guys, myself included, we got to just make sure we temper our expectations because it's going to be Generation 0, literally Generation 0 or 1, and it's going to be buggy and it's going to kind of be a mess. So if we're just cool with that, everything's going to be fine.
Yeah, we're also going to see the implementation of new things like the multi-tool with the medical attachment that's going to be able to do some healing out in the field, though it won't bring you back to 100%. It will at least get you back up and going till you can get to one of the hospitals.
Unless you're stuck between those two rocks or in like a T-pose.
Yeah.
Well,
Death of a Spaceman is one of the one of the biggest things I'm looking forward to because we discussed it earlier. If you guys remember Star Wars,
Galaxies,
Yep.
Galaxies, yeah. You died out in the middle of nowhere. Someone could come steal your stuff, or you had to try to get back to it before it disappeared, it got looted, whatever.
Things would wear out and break down through use too, and that was great.
It makes things challenging, and I was really sad when they stepped away from that, and that kind of became the standard for a lot of the MMOs that came after that. So I'm really looking forward to that kind of mechanic again because I found it really challenging.
And also, like we were saying, it really helps enforce a player fed community kind of economy. That's the word.
Yeah, and I think I fear it, and I am looking forward to it because I die so often that I'm probably going to be on 10th generation by the time that the first month has gone by.
At least.
But I also look forward to it because the immersion level that gives you. Because, I mean, unlike in a game, in real life, you can only take so much damage before your body just gives out. And I think implementing that into the game is going to add that level. It will also obviously apply that level to griefers and all that, though they won't have as much of a concern about being on multiple generations, but they will have a penalty because from my understanding, you're going to lose AUEC, resources, equipment that you have as you go from generation to generation as well, too. So it may help quell some of that down. Yeah, reputation also.
You
So
know,
it might keep that down.
I used to say, and I'm not sure if I still feel this way, but I'm kind of that real pirates are going to be kind of like an endangered species later down the road, to a degree.
I don't know if it would be endangered species. I think they're going to be more selective on their targets, and they're not going to be as frivolous in what they're doing and who they're taking on. They're not going to be so likely to lock down Everest Harbor or portals, or because of the turrets that are around those stations, because we know that the plan is that those are going to get more aggressive. Plus the players on this server that are going to fight back, especially as server meshing comes in and you're going to have more than 50 players on a server.
It's going to be all about that overwhelming force, that shock factor.
Yeah,
I just imagine it's going to make people, make a lot more unique decisions on how they want to carry on.
Totally. And if somebody does take Port Olisar, say some big pirate org comes in and Port Olisar's theirs, and we just need to get there for some reason, how many times are you going to be willing to die to take it back?
Yeah, exactly. Of course, also what we saw was the gold standards. We all seen that video about the gold standards. We're going to see the Gladius get the gold standard, the Saber, as well as the Retaliator.
The gold standard pass is what we are terming this current pass on the vehicles. We are implementing primarily cockpit button placement, cockpit button animations, making sure everything is symmetric, both character and item-wise, exposing all the ship items, lighting passes, material passes. Gold standard is finishing the ship to as complete a standard as we can with the feature set that we have right now in the game. The first ship that we put through this pass was the Aegis Gladius.
I was a little nervous working on the Gladius because it is like the star of Squadron, and I wanted to make sure I did a good job on it. And then also coupled with the fact that because Squadron are using it, I had to make sure that I didn't break anything. We started off with adding component hatches and a personal inventory. Gladius didn't seem to have any visible headlight source, so I went in and added some nice big headlights for that at the front. And then it was just, like I said, with the thruster glows as well, trying to get them to look nice and read from a distance. Adding the fuel port on it as well. And then, just some geo optimizations and material optimizations and more stuff that you don't necessarily would see, but makes the game, more optimized and runs better.
The Gladius is obviously the core Squadron 42 ship, and that always gets the gold standard and first pass on everything for testing. And I think we can definitely tell that that is the baby of CIG and gets the gold standard there. It looks gorgeous all the time. We're going to see different things like the fuel port come in, more access ports for the components, and I'm excited about this. I think what they showed as far as that video that we're going to get, it looked amazing.
The Gladius is a beautiful ship. I'm always, like I said before, that pirate skin is the way to go. But that Gladius is always going to be, like you were saying, the ship that it's a Squadron 42 ship. It's always going to be the most attention to it. It's a great ship to own. Good fighter.
Yep.
So on the next ship, which was the Saber, we built on what we learned from the Gladius and did that in the Saber.
For instance, the damage mesh, needed a bit of tweaking. We added in a bunch of lighting so you can still read the ship from afar, but not make it too bright as it's still a stealth ship. And after the whole exterior was done and dusted, we moved on to a revision of the dashboard. Overall, just reworking so it's not as noisy. And now you have a better view of your cockpit, and then just everything nice and compact to the sides. in a couple of sentences, a really rough overview of the Saber gold standard process.
And then, of course, we got the Saber. The Saber is another light fighter. That's going to get all the same treatment as the Gladius. And then they're also going to be looking at updating that as far as its cockpit and dashboard design, as well as its damage mesh. I think the Saber definitely doesn't get the love that the Gladius does, but it's a great ship the way it is now. I think the improvements are going to be definitely amazing once they bring that up. I definitely like the dashboard revision. I think it needs one. It seems to me a little bit outdated. It looks good, but it does look like it needs an update.
Prettiest ship in the verse.
Gives you that F-14 vibe, and I love that.
It is a lovely ship. I love flying it. But yeah, like you were saying, gearing it out to be the stealth ship it is isn't the priority right now.
Yeah, if stealth's working, that ship, the Saber, is fantastic. But it's supposed to be a stealth ship. I mean, you can fight with it all day long, but it's designed to be a stealth ship. If stealth isn't working in the game, then it's kind of frivolous, really.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful ship to fly, but yeah.
And of course, all three versions. Well, technically 2 versions. The third being the Raven that was only available through special purchase. The Comet and the base Saber are absolutely stealth powerhouse performance.
Which one had the EMP? Was that the one you had to buy the hard drive to get?
Yeah, that was the Raven.
So the Retaliator Gold Standard is obviously a much larger task than the Gladius and Saber. Has all the same criteria of work, so looking at the cockpit, looking at the components, adding all the things, checking everything's symmetric. But because it's got an interior, then there's additional tasks added. So the same work we do for the cockpit of the pilot has to be done for the turrets. The components that you can physically take out of the ship, can you physically take them out of the ship? Do the doors need to be wider, etc.? Now you've made the doors wider, do they still fit in the ship when they open? And we also took the time to look at the central room and thought, can we improve on this? We decided to remove the top and bottom docking collars and go for a side airlock, which also helps for docking because that's just a natural walking on transition. And then because we'd lost a lift on that side, we then realized we had to make the lift on the other side slightly larger to accommodate essentially 2 lifts worth of people. So then you've now just got 1 lift on that side of the ship to get in and a docking collar on the other side to get in. Thing that the Retaliator has is the customizable room modules, and there's a cargo module front and back, a dropship module at the front. They were all brought up to current standards, so when modularity comes on as a swappable item, they are good to go.
So of course that brings us to the Retaliator. And this one I'm excited about because we're going to lose that top and bottom docking port that I so conveniently fall all the way through whenever I would fly in the Retaliator with Cryo.
I wish I could have got that on video, man.
He has it on video, trust me. And that was a major pain, but we're going to see a docking port put over on the port side. And then we're going to see the starboard side elevator get an increase in size. And we're looking at the video here and we can see kind of the makeup of the modules, cargo module as well as the dropship module. So a lot of great things coming along with that. Of course, the modules are being updated, no date on when they're going to be released, but they want them ready as soon as modularity is available to come into the game to be able to immediately release those. And they look amazing on the video. They look like they're going to be a great asset to have on that ship.
Yeah, I just don't see the modularity being that important of a thing other than just to have it until we have the other systems that we can go to. I love the idea of modularity, but I don't want you to be able to modulate like a terrapin to be in the mining vessel of choice. You stay in their lanes, but just have that slight variance, for different unique situations.
So I mentioned earlier about modularity and the VMA, the vehicle manager app that they're developing, and it's actually on the roadmap for, I want to say it's 3.17, but they in an older video they talked about the VMA in a way that it seems like it's the prerequisite to get modularity in. The thing I didn't mention was that the Retaliator, I believe there's a card on the roadmap for Squadron 42 where the VMA and the just the back end tech to set up a ship so that you can spawn it with different modules or ships within ships, etc. Was something that was going to be called by developers so that they could set up a scene in Squadron 42. So I do think that it is a priority on the Squadron 42 side. So I think we may see it some version of it sooner than later. But I agree. I think that there's other gameplay things that need to be more forefront than that. But we all know that Squadron 42 tends to drive some of the stuff we get in Star Citizen.
Well, I mean, if you look at it with the modules, I mean, the versatility it'll offer will be great for whatever operation you want to run. But I mean, we're looking at the Caterpillar having modularity capabilities, as well as the Carrack, the Retaliator. So you're going to really be able to customize those ships based on what you want to use them for. So it will be handy. I agree with you guys in the fact that, there's definitely other things I think need more focus right now. But the fact that they have them ready to go when the base, components of that system come into play, I think is not a bad idea. Because if you're going to introduce modularity, where's the fun in? You may get one module for this ship. 2 months later, get a module for this ship. If it's ready to go and they introduce modularity, there you go. 3-4 ships at once that have it ready to go, and you can start messing around with it immediately.
It's really nice to see Gen 0 of the tech come online, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to sound like a white knight because there's obvious issues and there's things I agree with and things I don't agree with, but they are starting to get in the mindset of thinking ahead to what's going to happen with this after this is implemented. I give them props for 3.14 really because I mean they introduced the whole new Orison and that's like all on new tech. Whereas places like Port Olisar and they took away Levski because that was all on old tech. And I'd have to say that it's been less buggy than I expected it to be.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you on that. And, that's the great thing is that they've definitely gotten better at looking down the road more instead of, if you take cargo decks, they introduced cargo decks because it was supposed to change the cargo system throughout the verse. They came in, they put the cargo decks in, you could take the elevator up there, you could go to the console and interact to buy, a ship or a armor set, but then they did nothing with it. And I think that's that short-term view that they said, we'll introduce this, we'll turn it into this big, huge gameplay loop and all that. But now, if you look at last week's episode, they're talking about, well, it's going to have to all be refactored. And they came out and said, yeah, we introduced this and we did nothing with it.
Yeah, it's not the first time that we've kind of seen little hiccups through RSI. So, these things are going to be expected. I'm not going to give them like a free pass or anything because, I mean, communication's key.
Yeah.
But we've seen it before. We'll see it again.
And
Rock DS.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, Rock DS. You mean the no ship of the month?
I love that stupid little thing, man. I love it.
Yeah, but why does it exist?
Because
it's so that you could take your friend and dip that arm into the oceans of Hurston and kill them.
just think about this. If it didn't exist, you wouldn't be able to ask that question.
Well, they did say in a video, whether you believe them or not, that the Rock and the Rock DS were both supposed to come into the game at the same time.
Yeah.
And had they both come in at the same time, they feel like people would have gotten the difference between the two and the reasonings.
Look, if anybody wants to give me the Rock DS, I love them. I'll have 100 of them. I don't care.
Well, they are going to nerf the Rock, so you won't be able to take the create the what do you call it, the SU boxes out of the back. So there will be some changes that they're going to make to, and they're going to keep tweaking it. They said until you submit and that you like the Rock DS.
They're going to force us to love that little bastard.
Well, that's tactics, man. You got to do it.
Hey, I
get it. I'm forcing people to like the Terrapin.
Okay. You'll never get me to admit that.
Push your face into the hood and say you're going to buy this Terrapin.
So we also saw the Star Citizen Live with the Meet the Turbulent crew staff, which was actually very interesting. We found out about their love of poutine, very Canadian thing.
Poutine.
I've had it
I can't
once
eat
or
it as much as I want, but I love it.
yeah, I've had it once or twice. It's not bad. So what they talked about, of course, were the space clinics and further hospital works coming out in 315.
Let's talk about some of the things we're working on right now. So obviously, for folks who saw yesterday's Inside Star Citizen, hospitals are probably the first big tentpole release, but they're not the only thing in development that's going. So who can talk a bit about what they're currently working on?
I can talk. I think it's already on the timeline what we're working on. We're working on the puzzles Derelicts. So we're working on the crash chip, the Caterpillar crash chip, because it gives us a lot of room to add in puzzles inside of the Caterpillars, and we're also trying to develop them in a way that we don't depend on art or missions or other teams in Turbulent. We obviously need help from all other teams, but we're trying to be as self-sufficient as we can to ship them, to bring in gameplay, to bring in puzzles, to bring in exploration, whether it's on planets or in space. So yeah, currently we're working on the Derelict puzzles, and we'll see what doors that opens and where it leads.
Let's talk a little bit more about what that idea itself is. Many of the Derelicts that folks know in the game right now are basically just points of interest. It's a giant environmental art installation, and that's about it. What you're talking about is actually adding Derelicts to the game that serve a gameplay function of some sort.
Yeah, so we're looking right now at where we're going to place those Derelicts so that some are easy to find, some are hard to find. We're also trying to maximize the use of the new tech that you guys are bringing in, so the scanning and the loot crates. So basically the way we're trying to build them is you have a crash site that's in 3 or 4 pieces, so you might have a crash site with 1 puzzle and 3-4 loot crates, or you might have a crash site with 3 puzzles inside and multiple loot crates with varying rarity. So, our goal is to give those players who like to explore, gather, loot, it's always fun to open a chest and you get an epic or a legendary item and things like that. So, I think we're trying to go in that direction for the explorers and add more gameplay puzzles and such things.
But they also talked about the future projects. Now, with the future projects, we have the Derelict ships and puzzles that are coming out. And this I'm actually excited about because we see the Derelict ships now, and it's a Starfarer. You get a personal mission or a general mission to go get a black box ticket to a location, get anywhere from 7,000 to 9,000 AUEC. On the general side, you might see some Ninetales there that you got to take out. On the personal side, every time I've done that mission, there's no enemy force or anything like that. There's no challenge to it. Just pick it up, take it to Grimhex, and you get paid the 9,000 AUEC. But now they're talking about a puzzle system with Derelicts that can contain loot boxes, and the first one they talked about was the Caterpillar. They're going to have a Derelict Caterpillar where it could have a single puzzle or multiple puzzle with 1 or 2 loot boxes or multiple loot boxes with varying gear that are available in them. You're going to have to finish those puzzles to get access to that loot box and be able to collect the gear that's in there. And I'm looking forward to this. I think their whole point to it is to take it from something that's a simple point of interest with a single crate you pick up and leave to a deeper and more in-depth gameplay function that's going to also promote the exploration side of things.
Totally like Easter egg style. Maybe you just pop out of Quantum somewhere and like, what the fuck is that?
I wonder if we'll have a problem with people camping and like farming those places.
Well, I don't think you'll have too much of a problem with it because from the sounds of it, there's going to be multiple of them. But it doesn't sound like there's going to be a small number of these. They're starting with the Caterpillar, and they plan on introducing more of these throughout the verse. And right now, we're finding things all the time that we didn't know was there. Just recently we figured out about the down satellite on Hurston. You got the wall at Aberdeen. Back in 3.12, 3.11, you had the Gulch that was there for a short time. I mean, there's a lot of players that come in that have been in for a year or more that still don't know about Benihenge.
Yeah,
Root
Benihenge.
trees on Microtech.
Yep, that, as well as even for Benihenge, there's an entire gameplay loop where you go to different areas and different locations to get clues to lead you to Benihenge.
And last year they had that. Remember, they had that hill horror or whatever helmet you could get if you found Benihenge. You went there in a couple days, it'd be in your account, and you have it forever.
Yep, exactly. So I got to imagine there's still more stuff out there that we haven't found. And as we get new systems like Pyro and Nixon, there's going to be even more hidden stuff out there.
You got the Javelin Wreck. That's been a big one for a long time.
Yep.
They also said, though, as our friend in the buttoned-up Hawaiian shirt, he was talking about as more and more tech and things come online, like fire and mines and things like that, they're gonna retrofit those puzzles with those dangers. Planetary nav mesh and things like that would allow random NPCs to show up, all that type of stuff.
He did mention that they'll be able to implement the whole higher risk and possibly even make a higher risk, higher reward at some of these derelicts where you're going to run into fire, mines, or NPCs.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, like, if they start doing that, then it will be harder to camp it effectively, I guess.
And this is one thing I've been looking forward for a long time, is to take focus away from buying helmets and armor pieces and paints away from the store and having them earnable or findable or lootable in-game.
That's also part of the reputation system. They want that stuff behind reputation as well. So you get a high enough reputation, you'll get access to them in-game in the in-game stores.
Yeah, like in vendors. Yeah, like even the Chairman's Club, I believe they'll have that Chairman's Club room where you'll be able to go and have access to special vendors.
Yep, actually they already have the Chairman's Club room on Orison. So it'll be interesting to see if they implement, access to that at some point.
The doors aren't open
on our
yet.
top hats and monocles.
I'll
Gold
fly my
armor.
F8C right up to the door.
You got to be wearing that to get through the door.
Me, if you have any Grey Poupon.
So, and this brings us to some of the information here as far as CitizenCon and things that they've openly stated we're not going to get too much info on because they're holding back for CitizenCon. And that's going to be the Colonial Outposts. And again, they purposely mentioned that they stopped sharing info on this in preparation for CitizenCon, as well as the Pyro Station. Obviously we saw the textures for Nyx last week, but we've seen past textures for Pyro, but really it has been a couple months since we've heard anything on that. So look forward to that information coming out at CitizenCon.
Man, some of that planet tech is starting to look fantastic. I mean, blow your mind. This game is so beautiful.
That's another reason that drew me to this game. It gives me the old Star Wars Galaxies tingles. Is the whole colonial stuff, making yourself a little pirate base.
That sandbox thing, you build up your little town if you want to, or whatever.
Well, and the Turbulent team, they said that they feel like they've got the environment development team. All of that stuff they've got a solid start on that. So they're able to crank through a lot of that stuff a lot more quickly now. But they're still working on hiring the gameplay development side so that they can be more of a independent or semi-independent from the rest of SIG on developing some of these levels and areas and whatnot. So there's a lot coming out of just them. Like, they're not even fully staffed yet by the sounds of things, and they're celebrating a year now.
Yeah, a year now. They've got 370 staff members there, and the video itself was very interesting in their viewpoint on everything, as far as the reasons that they left where they were and came to Star Citizen, because some of them are as new as only a couple months being there. Some of them have been there since the beginning of the last year, and I think they had a good point in the fact that when you're sitting there developing a AAA game that's going 4, 5, 6 years in, everything is secret. You're really not getting any feedback on anything other than the internal Q&A. And the nice thing about Star Citizen is the fact that their work is immediately rewarded with feedback from the people playing it, and a good viewpoint of looking at it is that all the backers, the people that are in the verse playing it, that it just forms a humongous giant QA team outside of those hired by SIG. And they love that feedback. And I think you brought up a good point, J Scale, as far as how they go about getting that feedback and the things that they do with that.
Yeah, so in the Turbulent video, they talked about our friend in the button-up shirt. He actually talked about how he watches as many YouTube videos as he can from the content creators and asks questions in the comments. And he actually mentioned how hard it was to interact via YouTube. It wasn't a good platform for quick interactions and whatnot. And he said half the time, or more than half the time, he doesn't get a response to the questions he asks. But he is out there looking. They all talked about how they really enjoy the feedback and how they're digging out there. And I also mentioned earlier that I've seen now a lot more where the CIG developers are more active on Spectrum, and they're putting out threads where they're specifically asking for feedback. They're interacting with people. So I think they're really working hard to interact with the backers, us, the people playing, and testing for free, to really try to get a better understanding of how their stuff is.
Yeah. And actually,
how we're experiencing it.
Oh, absolutely. And actually, a good point is, was probably about a week ago, we were on doing a Xenothreat. And I can't remember if Mystery you were with us or not, but there was several SIG developers on the same server as, and they rock at loading the cargo.
Yeah.
Those guys just whip it out and get it delivered in no time.
They had a Hercules.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
They did have a Hercules.
Hacks.
Yeah, I really hope this good collaboration with them continues to work out well, because they got a totally unique. They're not as tunnel visioned as CIG could, I guess, potentially get or be on certain systems and stuff. It's good that they have a fresh input on it.
Yeah, and I think the nice thing is the whole thing of the studio was their autonomy, and they're able, and this is one thing they specifically mentioned, is that they're able to have that autonomy, but they're still in daily contact with other teams that they need to get information from or share information with. So the lines of communication are completely open there for them to be able to come together and keep an eye on the big picture, but they are still autonomous enough to do what they feel is right to do with what they're working on. And in point to what J Scale was talking about, I can definitely attest to the fact that they do go out there and watch the stuff, because they watch the Twitch. I mean, when we stream, the 2 nights a week, they are, following us on Twitch. They're not there every stream, but I have seen where they join in and they check out what we're doing, what we're experiencing. They don't communicate with us, which is understandable. They just want to watch what's going on to see what we're experiencing. But they are out there. They are checking things out. And it's I was in shock when I saw them join the Twitch channel, because I couldn't believe that, they were checking out my channel.
It's like Santa Claus watching to make sure you're being a good little boy, so you don't get
Right. So humble, because you give pretty much unbiased commentary on the game, and that's one of the things that drew me to Amarok's Fang and the org itself. It's just, you're not hardcore one way or the other. You're in it to play the game. You see the problems that happen, but you still find ways to enjoy ourselves. And I think it's really unique, and a lot of other AAA game developers should hopefully take this in stride.
Oh,
Give the people what they want.
Yeah, be more open. Be more open about your game. I really hope this has a big impact on the community, like the way that this has rolled around.
I can only think of one other game developer, Square Enix.
Yeah.
And in my estimate, or in my experience, is the only one who actually is that involved in their game, and their game is fantastic.
So yeah, definitely that video with the or pretty much the meet and Q&A with the Turbulent crew was actually extremely interesting. And I'm really looking forward to that whole thing that our Hawaiian shirt friend was talking about with the Derelicts, because I think that could definitely open up a whole new level of exploration for us.
Those guys really seem like a good team. Sorry, go ahead.
Think about some of the puzzles, like maybe you have to push a button here while Summer Yeti has to do something down below.
Yeah, or if it's a derelict,
just
it
roll
could
in
be a
and
matter
fumble
of
it.
having a cutting tool and finding a way to cut your way back to where, when salvage starts coming in, we're going to get that cutting tool. Could be finding a way to cut your way through where the contents of the box are.
Have somebody standing on a pressure plate or something while you this or that, blah blah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a fire extinguisher. Have a portable
All the
generator to
while-
power things up.
A little bit of hacking.
All the while
Yep.
avoiding, onboard defense systems.
Exactly. So one of the last things we got to go over here, and this comes back to CitizenCon, and I'll let Jay Scale take this. What'd you find out about the known content that we're going to see there in CitizenCon on October 9th?
Well, so I started. I've been putting it in the notes. Just I'm trying to like collect up all of the stuff that they acknowledge that they're going to cover, and right now it's the asset manager. They came out and said they're going to have a whole panel on, which is a big piece of the cargo refactor, and that's going to be your global asset manager as opposed to your personal inventory. Personal inventory is going to work through the inner thought system. Versus asset manager is going to be an app in the mobiGlas, which is called Knickknacks, if I have that right.
Yeah.
And then I think we touched on the fact that they in this video they actually said that they are not covering. They stopped putting out any more stuff on the homesteads and the colonial outposts because they wanted to save it for CitizenCon, which same thing with Pyro and Nyx. The questions I'm wondering is, I haven't seen anything yet, but I'm looking for it, the jump points and, revisit of the death of the spaceman and all those extra things that they've talked about in the past, but we haven't heard a whole lot on. If you kind of go back, I think Space Tomato did a video where he was mentioning some of this stuff as well, where he had noticed certain things like you haven't heard anything more on Pyro. So I've been trying to go through some of the older stuff and try to figure out like, did this just fall off? Did they just stop talking about this? So
yeah, kind of like cargo decks.
It's interesting how Tony Z did that whole video on quantum recently, as opposed to saving that for CitizenCon. So that leads me to believe that they're going to have some kind of big presentation that builds upon quantum in a major way that kind of blows our mind.
Oh, absolutely. They talked about it in the cargo refactor video where it's the whole next year is going to be economy is going to be a big part of next year, is what they said in that video. So, and that's that quantum's piece is running running the economy behind the scenes.
Yep.
I'm eating all the brain food so I can attempt to even keep up with Tony Z.
Right. He's on like a next plane
every day.
That's okay, Junk. I can barely keep up with him myself. That's why I got J Scale.
Trying to slow my brain from getting smoother.
So that's pretty much all the information over this past week. I mean, is there anything that you guys would like to add?
Yeah, I can't wait to visit the Grimhex medical lab and catch myself some space STDs and stuff.
Summer Yeti is going to go in as a Mr. Yeti and come out as a Mrs. Yeti.
I'm going to be the head nurse.
Yeti, one of those is one side is bigger than the other.
I just have pictures of Total Recall and the Mars population. Anybody over the age of 25 should know that reference.
There's going to be a lot of nice little junior Yetis running around. Well, why is all these kids looking like Yetis all of a sudden?
Well, I'd like to take the time to thank Mystery, Junkyard Willy, and Summer Yeti / War PhD / Plague MD. Thank you guys very much for joining us this week. I greatly appreciate it. It was a pleasure to have you guys on. Again, check out the link in the comments for Mystery's YouTube page. Head on over there, check it out if you're interested in financial scams and things like that. Give the man some love there, and check out Twitch TV Digikuma, DIGIKUMA, for Junkyard Willy's Twitch streaming channel. And also check out Space Tomato and Board Gamers channel for more things involving Summer Yeti and his participation in their orgs there. And thank you very much, J-Scale, for all your hard work on helping put everything together this week. As always, it's greatly appreciated.
Well, thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm definitely I'm going to carve out some time. Hopefully tomorrow I get on with you guys and have some space shenanigans.
I greatly appreciate it. And also for everybody at home, don't forget to check out our streams every Wednesday and Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We love the interaction. And also remember, you can send us questions because I'd like to do a future viewer question and answer period. You can send that to the community tab on the YouTube page, as well as all the links in the comments below for Twitter, as well as Instagram. And you can also email me directly at darkhourexperience@gmail.com. We love to hear from you guys and be able to get your questions on air and answered. And again, thank you for joining us. You guys have a great night, and sorry for the missed recording button earlier tonight.
It's actually fun. That's kind of funny.
And you guys, hey, I'll see you guys, I'm sure, tomorrow and in the verse, and hopefully you guys can get some rest. And thanks again. I'd love to have you guys back on at any time you guys are willing to visit and give your opinions.
Cool.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
It's drinking time.
Exactly. There you go.
Miller
Crack a cold one. Everybody at home do the same, and thank you very much.
Have you ever tried poutine?
No, I've never tried poutine.
Oh man.
Oh, you should. You're missing out.
Yeah, you're missing out. If you're coming to Montreal just for poutine, it's worth it.
Yeah.
I would say it's even better if your first one is consumed at 3 a.m. after a night out drinking. It is the best context to have this food.
It's usually the rite of passage, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
The poutine and the axe throwing.
Right. There you go.
Right.
It's a very Canadian experience, I
Correct.
guess.